Hey everyone, welcome back for another weekly astrology video. This will be the week of March 2nd to March 8th. We missed last week's video because I tried to put out 2 videos last week and I ended up cutting myself short on time and not getting to it. But we've really only missed the Mercury retrograde, so it's not too much. We've hit 50 subscribers, which I'm super grateful for. Thank you everyone who's returning and everyone who's decided to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, then please hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you around and have you here for the future videos. I really appreciate all of you sticking around. So let's get right into the week. We've got Monday, March 2nd to begin with. And I'm fighting a little bit of a sniffle, so I'm trying to get through this without too much trouble. So we got 3:36 a.m. We have the moon at 27 degrees of Leo, making a conjunction with Uranus at 27 degrees Taurus. The moon conjunct Uranus amplifies sudden mood swings and the urge for change. It brings unpredictable energy and restlessness, breaking routines. Emotional insights or shocks may occur as the unconscious seeks novelty. At 7:27 a.m., the moon opposes Mars at 29 degrees of Aquarius. This amplifies and intensifies aggression and impatience. Tensions can flare as feelings compete with action impulses. Conflict or assertive action may erupt if emotions are left unchecked. At the same minute, so 7:27 a.m., we then have the moon moving into Virgo. So the moon's ingress into Virgo shifts focus to practicality and detail. The emotional tone becomes analytical, seeking order and efficiency. Then at 11:35 p.m., we have the moon at 8 degrees Virgo, making an opposition to the north node in Pisces. And this is important because this is going to carry us overnight to Tuesday, because this leads directly into our blood moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, with the sun directly across in Pisces. So the moon opposing the north node highlights pivotal emotional themes. It signals a turning point related to Virgo and Pisces lessons. This is service versus surrender type themes. Notable events may feel fated or karmic. So that brings us into Tuesday, March 3rd at 6:37 a.m. We have the sun in Pisces at 12 degrees and the moon in Virgo at 12 degrees, creating a full moon total solar eclipse. The exact full moon culminates the Virgo-Pisces cycle, illuminating practical versus spiritual needs. Tensions between health and work routines and mystical ideals peak. So health and work routines would be Virgo and mystical ideals would be Pisces. Then at 10:45 a.m., the moon at 15 degrees Virgo makes a trine with Jupiter at 15 degrees Cancer. It eases the eclipse stress, promoting optimism and goodwill. At 7:38 p.m., the moon opposes Mercury in Pisces at 20 degrees Pisces, where Mercury is also in retrograde, which will be clouding communication and the mind. So misunderstandings or mixed messages can create confusion. Emotional reevaluation and second guessing are likely experiences on Tuesday. At 8:26 p.m., Mars makes a semi-sextile with Neptune, so Mars being at 1 degree Pisces, Neptune being at the 1st degree of Aries, which blurs the line between actions and intuition. Energy may feel diffused or idealistic, so exercise caution to avoid deceiving yourself about motivations on Tuesday. So Wednesday, March 4th. So at 9:41 a.m., the moon at 27 degrees Virgo opposes Venus in Pisces, which creates friction in relationships. Of course, the moon being emotions and then Venus being relationships. Practical concerns clash with values or comfort needs. Diplomacy is needed as sensitivity runs high. At 9:52 a.m., the moon trines Uranus in Taurus at 27 degrees. This adds a feeling of excitement and openness to change. It can bring fresh ideas or an adventurous mood, and emotional flexibility increases with this energy. So at 11:40 a.m., Venus in Pisces, making a sextile with Uranus in Taurus, sparks sudden attractions and creative inspiration. This is a time of heightened intuition, but also potential misunderstandings. as emotions may be feeling overwhelmed or somewhat confusing. Then at 6:01 p.m., the moon in Libra opposes Saturn in Aries at 2 degrees, bringing a sober and serious tone. Emotional restraint and self-discipline are emphasized. Feelings may be tempered by responsibility or structure. Then at 10:34 p.m., the moon at 4 degrees Libra makes a trine to Pluto in Aquarius, which deepens emotional intensity in a constructive way. It supports inner transformation and courage. Issues of power and control can be resolved with deep insight. So Tuesday, March 5th at 12:13 p.m., the sun at 15 degrees Pisces trines Jupiter at 15 degrees of Cancer. These are both water signs, which brings a sort of uplifting of the spirit. It brings confidence, generosity, and a sense of optimism. It's a good day for growth and positive insight. At 6:22 p.m., the moon at 15 degrees Libra squares Jupiter in Cancer, which creates excess tension in desires. Overindulgence or unrealistic expectations may be a result. Moderation is needed in enthusiasm and in confidence. So Friday, March 6th at 5:30 a.m., we enter into my Venus return of Venus in Aries, shifting focus to bold, independent expressions of values and relationships. Social energy becomes more direct and enthusiastic with Venus in Aries. At 11:01 p.m., we have the moon entering Scorpio. Late Friday, the moon leaves Libra for Scorpio, intensifying the emotional atmosphere. And quick on that, Venus in Aries is no joke. Ever since I've been paying attention to my own return transits, the last time Venus was in Aries, it conveniently also had Mercury in Aries at the same time, which is in my chart. I have both Venus and Mercury in Aries. And at the time that happened, I don't usually get in online arguments, but I ended up getting into a bunch of fights on Facebook with friends from high school, which is totally not the kind of energy I want to be putting out. But the moment Venus went into Aries, I noticed I got a sort of extra bit of fighting spirit. And then when Mercury went into Aries, that actually started to manifest into arguments with old friends over Facebook. So not the best look, but Venus, that's the energy of Venus in Aries, but also Mercury at the same time. So moving into a period of Venus in Aries, I'm going to be looking forward to not getting into any fights with anybody. Saturday, March 7th. At 6:01 a.m., we have the sun making a conjunction with Mercury at 16 degrees Pisces. And again, Mercury is retrograde. So it's sort of having a retrograde Cazimi, which heightens the Piscean introspection. Thoughts and self-expression become more reflective or confused. It's a key time for inner dialogue. So again, also not falling into delusion or despair with the Pisces energy. I know this was something I was thinking when the Epstein files came out under all of that Aquarius energy, was we're going to be moving into a period where all of these Aquarian placements are moving into Pisces. So people are going to really have to be trying to keep their heads above the water, so to speak, and not fall into that Piscean despair or hopelessness, especially with this retrograde period. And it's going to stay there for a while, because Mercury normally takes about 2 weeks to go through one sign, but because it's gone through Pisces, it's retrograding back through Pisces, and then once it comes out of retrograde, it's going to have to make that trip through Pisces again. So it's basically spending the amount of time that Venus would normally spend in one placement. So we get a lot of time to reflect and reassess in these Piscean waters, so it's good not to get lost in those. So moving on, we have at 6:27 a.m. we have Venus making a conjunction with Neptune, because Venus is the one coming through at 1 degrees of Aries. This infuses love and creativity with idealism. It blurs boundaries in relationships, inspiring compassion, but also potential confusion. Romantic or artistic inspiration peaks. 6:33 a.m., we have the moon making a trine to Mars, the moon in Scorpio, Mars in Pisces. So at 6:33 a.m., we have the moon at 3 degrees Scorpio making a trine with Mars at 3 degrees of Pisces. This boosts courage and determination. Emotional drive is supported, making it easier to act on instincts. Energy is blended with depth and sensitivity. Then at 8:13 a.m., the moon squares Pluto in Aquarius at 4 degrees. Intensifying power dynamics, hidden feelings may surface strongly on Saturday. This aspect can bring emotional catharsis or confrontations if unresolved issues exist. So then Sunday, March 8th at 5:46 a.m., the moon trines Jupiter at 15 degrees of Scorpio, and Jupiter is in Cancer. This brings warmth and generosity. It eases weekend stress and promotes understanding. Confidence and goodwill are enhanced. At 9:39 a.m., Venus in Aries at 2 degrees makes a conjunction with Saturn. This grounds relationships with seriousness. Commitments made feel solid. Finances and partnerships may require discipline or patience under this energy. Then at 11:41 a.m., the sun in 18 degrees Pisces makes a trine with the moon in Scorpio, which again, these are water signs offering emotional harmony. It softens tension and supports mutual understanding. The day carries a stabilizing and supportive vibe. So this week's headline events were Mars entering Pisces on March 2nd, and then the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 3rd at 12 degrees. The Sun-Jupiter trine on March 5th provided a welcome boost of optimism and opportunity midweek. Mercury stayed retrograde in Pisces, highlighting the importance of review and inner work. Late in the week, activity shifted into Aries, with Venus and Neptune on March 7th and Venus and Saturn on March 8th, bringing contrasting energies of idealism versus realism in relationships. Throughout the moon's progression from Leo to Virgo to Libra to Scorpio, this directed daily emotional themes from creative flair to analytical detail to balance and finally depth. This sequence set the stage for eclipse energy integration. The Virgo eclipse sheds excess, and now the week's transits encourage cautious optimism mixed with practical grounding, preparing us for the next cycles of change. At 4:18 p.m., Mars enters Pisces, so Mars is transiting out of Aquarius and into Pisces, redirecting action and drive from intellectual detachment towards intuitive, emotional, and fluid expression. So that's the week of March 2nd to 8th. If you like this video, then please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel, as it really helps out if you'd like to see more of this kind of content. I appreciate you guys all for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.